So the nagging wife is finally gone. Let me tell you what happened here. So it all started, a couple days ago. We've been doing pretty good this summer. The temperature hasn't gotten probably higher than 92, 93 degrees. And with the fan going, it's pretty bearable. So the summer's been pretty mild. Of course, we haven't gotten much rain. Everything's dry. As a matter of fact, I haven't heard anybody shooting off any fireworks. And we found out that a few counties around us is saying that if you start a fire with fireworks, I mean, they haven't made them illegal, but if you start a fire, there's going to be significant penalties. But all that being said, it's been pretty cool this spring, even though we haven't got any rain or major storms. I think we've really done well this year. Well then, 2 days ago, it started to creep up into the high 90s. I actually think it got hotter than that. The truck thermometer said it was 104, but they were saying it was only 97. So I don't know which one was more accurate. But the heat indexes have gotten up quite high, 104 and different things, according to the app. So we just opened up the windows, turned on the fan, and we've been doing really well. Now, I've always said that having this tiny house up underneath these trees like this makes all the difference in the world. The house doesn't get too much hotter than outside temperature. Matter of fact, it probably stays a little cooler. Now, that being said, this morning when I woke up, it was 79 degrees outside. The windows were open, fan was going, and it was 84 in the house. But now that it's hotter outside than it is in the house, so it kind of swaps at some point during the day. Well, then yesterday we got up into the hundreds. But the thing is it didn't really get too terribly hot until the evening time. So I would say maybe 3, 4, 5 o'clock, it started getting pretty warm. Well, that's when we're starting to settle down. We'll turn on the Netflix. Right now we're watching that TV show Medium that's on Prime. Carolyn's been freezing bottles of water now that we have the freezer. And she lets that thaw out a little bit, and then she'll drink it and fill it back up and let it thaw out more. And so all day she's got a bottle of ice water. To me, I don't need ice water. It doesn't do much for me. Just stay hydrated. That is the key. And I know this is going to sound disgusting, but keep an eye on your urine. The minute it turns yellow, drink more water. If you haven't went to the bathroom in a while, 2, 3, 4 hours, drink some more water. You got to keep that bathroom pretty consistent. You want to be going every hour or so. You want to drink a lot of water. People will tell you don't do it. Oh no, you'll get water poisoning. Well, we eat enough salt in our diet, and I'm sure most people eat enough sugar, that you would have to consume several gallons in a few minutes in order to get sick. That's when this all got started, was a few years ago, well, probably a couple decades ago now. There was a radio station that had a water drinking contest, and a woman died from drinking so much water. Her electrolytes diluted, and so her brain wasn't doing chemical reactions, or not chemical, but electrical reactions anymore. But if you drink enough water to keep a good flow, you'll be fine. But remember, you're sweating constantly, even in Arizona. Now, I've heard somebody say, oh, you don't sweat in Arizona. Yes, you do. It's so dry there, it sucks the water right off of you. Whereas my shirt here in this humid climate, it's quite wet. Stand in front of a fan, and that's how your body stays cool. The chickens breathe through their mouth, dogs. And so that's how they stay cool, is they are bringing in air through their mouth, and that cools them down. So they got to stay hydrated too, because, I don't know, have you ever had a stuffy nose in the middle of the night? And so you got to breathe through your mouth. You wake up and your mouth is just sand. It's just dry. Well, it's because you just dehydrated your mouth. So all that is coming out. As a matter of fact, they say if you get lost in the desert, that you should walk slow and keep your mouth closed. Breathe through your nose, because you'll evaporate more water through your mouth. So we've been staying hydrated, and I know people are going to argue with me that you can't drink that much water, and we've been doing it for years. We're not dying. You know, that's the funny thing is Carolyn and I are pretty healthy. We keep finding things in our diet to make us more healthy, you know, being carnivores. Oh, you can't be a carnivore. That'll kill you. I get that all the time in the comment section. Yet I'm sure the person who is saying it is probably got diabetes and overweight and drinks constantly and poor health, goes to the doctor all the time. Carolyn and I haven't went to the doctor, I would say, man, a long time, 7 or 8 years. So we don't go to the doctor. We're healthy. But unhealthy people are telling us we're unhealthy. So we drink water, and lots of it. The Berkey holds 3 gallons, and I would say that even on days that it's not very hot, I probably fill the Berkey back up every 2 to 3 days. When it's hotter like this, it's definitely every 2 days I fill it up. So today, it got hot much earlier. It's already in the hundreds, and I would say it's about noontime. Well, she's out here because tomorrow it's supposed to rain and cool off. She needed to get laundry done. She didn't want to get the laundry in the rain. So she came out here and started doing laundry, and I said, aren't you going to get hot? Well, I can go in and sit down in front of the fan if it gets too hot. And she's already done the wash. So what she does is she washes here and then rinses here. So I've already filled it back up. So she's washed, now she's in the rinse. And just like she said, she gets hot, she comes back in, so she just leaves the clothes here. No big deal. The biggest thing is running this thing. You got to pull that. So she's not even using that right now. What she does is she'll grab the basket, put all the clothes in the basket, and just let it drip for a while. That way she doesn't even have to exert herself on the rinse. That's what that is. You pull it and it spins it, gets the clothes dry. So she only kind of uses that now to dry them off before she hangs them on the line. Now I've filled the water up a few times today, the IBC tank and this. So I'm running up and down the hill. So I've sweated quite a bit, but I'm pretty comfortable with the temperatures. Here's what's interesting, is both of us have adapted better to the environment than before we lived off grid. I don't like the cold. I hate the cold. Well, I say that because I think about my past. In the past, I hated the cold. But since I've gotten here, I've gotten a lot more adapted to it. The first winter we were in the house, I kept it pretty hot. Now, there was 2 reasons for that. 1, because I didn't like the cold. But 2, because we had all that wet firewood, and it was impossible to light the fire in the wood stove with that wet wood. But the second year I was here, it was a lot easier to manipulate that wood stove. Now I just let it burn down, and when it gets down to about 60 degrees, 65 degrees in the house, I relight the stove. It gets up to about 85 degrees, dies off, and then all day long it cools down. And so you do that about 3 times. But that first year, I wouldn't let it get below 75 degrees. And I was always cold. Well, I just wear a sweatshirt now. I bought that big heavy coat that first year we were here, that big Carhartt, the really expensive one. But I hardly wear it in the wintertime. Maybe on those really extreme cold days I'll wear it, when it's in the negatives or even down into the single digits, I'll wear that coat. But normally I just wear a sweatshirt, and I don't take the sweatshirt off too much. I just kind of wear it all the time. And so I've been getting pretty adapted to cold weather. And conversely, Carolyn has adapted amazingly well to the hot weather. She absolutely hated hot weather. I mean, to the point she was grouchy. It was kind of rough to be around her in the summertime. But look, today she's doing laundry. It's incredible. She's obviously sweated. Her hair's a lot longer than mine, so her hair gets wet. But she's adapted. Now, the other thing is we've lost quite a bit of weight together. Being on the carnivore diet, so that might have something to do with it. She's just not carrying as much insulation around anymore. I'm not sure, but it seems like that might be helpful. But whatever it is, she sure has toughened up in the summertime. So now I wanted to show her how to turn the well on. No complaints. Walked down there with me. I showed her how to turn it on. Came back up here. She started plunging the laundry, and I was even concerned that she was doing the laundry. Yesterday she wanted to walk. Well, I don't want to get into too much detail, but she wanted to go on a walk, and it was really hot. And I thought, you probably shouldn't do that. But she insisted she'd be fine. I mean, I would have even been uncomfortable in a walk like that, but she insisted she'd be fine. Ended up, she didn't need to take the walk, but she wanted to go for a walk. I don't think the heat was going to stop her. Her attitude has really changed about the temperature. Her anxiety's gotten better. Everything's gotten better since we've been here. You know, people talk about how nuts we are for living off grid. And I'm always trying to defend myself about this is the perfect lifestyle. We don't have to work ourselves to death for an employer anymore. But in reality, we've just gotten healthier. And it's not from all the exercise and the nonstop labor that we have to do around here, because really there isn't a lot to do. I mean, yeah, she does laundry, but she only does that once, twice a week. We take care of the chickens, but really that's just, you know, filling their water bucket and giving them some food, putting them away at night. There's not a lot of labor that I see, no more than going to work and being a laborer at work. Everything seems to have made us healthier. Our diet, being able to withstand the temperatures. People talk about prepping. There's this one prepper, he's huge. And I think, how are you going to survive an SHTF? Because they're always talking about SHTF, stuff hits the fan. And how they're so tough, they're going to be able to conquer anything during the SHTF. Well, no, they're not. When the air conditioning goes down and they can't get their carbohydrates and their sugar addiction taken care of, they can't get their cool temperatures, they can't get enough water, they're having to carry water. They need to get in shape now, like Carolyn and I have done. They need to start testing themselves now. Billy the Kid on that movie Young Gun, Emilio Estevez, talked about testing himself. Every day is a test. I test myself every day. And I think that's what preppers need to do. Instead of talking about how great they are, I think they really need to test how great they are. Carolyn and I are not great. We don't claim to be great. We just live our dream and we're happy. And as a result, we're healthier and we test ourselves unintentionally, but we do it anyways. So if you'll click this up next box, take you to a video where I was talking about the solar panels. So I hope I can inspire you to test yourself every day when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.